Another year, another COD. Every year I think, oh, maybe it will be different this time, and it never is. This year was promised to be quite a change, and in a way it is. A more slower pace to multiplayer and some darker tones to the story. Sounds interesting, but they ain't all that. So, campaign. It's Russians being naughty boys, probably far too naughty. They happily shoot and gas civilians and children, and then laugh about it. So all the bullshit about the campaign being morally grey, it's just that, bullshit. The good guys are good, and occasionally they do something a bit naughty, but it's for the greater good. I did like some of the characters. Kyle starts off with a good arc. He's angry that the rules of engagement don't allow him to murk the dirty terrorists before they attack, but that doesn't really go anywhere. Farah's quite good. She's a freedom fighter in some fictional Middle Eastern country and is trying to fight a losing battle against the invading Russians. She has a backstory with them that gets revealed as the game goes on. Captain Price is back and pretty cool. He's a right fucking geezer. And I do like how they've worked in some of the original Modern Warfare characters into this reboot. Not all of them, well, until the ending, spoilers. Alex, the American CIA agent, is a bit drab. He joins Farah's freedom fighting force because he apparently really believes in her cause, but you never really get that impression from him. The first half of the campaign is pretty good. The clean house mission was a personal highlight, slowly moving through the dark house, clearing out each room of smelly brown terrorists and maybe some innocents. And the initial terrorist attack on London is a good chaotic action fest, but the second half of the campaign falls into the typical Call of Duty battles, 5,000 enemies shooting from every direction and you're the only one who can move forward. I've heard people say it's the best campaign in ages, but I wouldn't go that far. I might get shit for this, but it just doesn't have the variety and characters of Infinite Warfare's campaign, which is one of my favourites. Shame the rest of the game was shit. Spec Ops is pretty toilet at the moment. There's only 4 missions and they are far too difficult. Enemies spawn from every direction and hit like trucks. Even with a well-oiled team, it's far too bullshit. I had to resort to the bitch tactic of respawning on top of the stadium on the first one, where I couldn't be hit and my team could infinitely respawn. When players have to resort to tactics like that, you done fucked up. Also, those people who are upset about the survival mode being PS4 exclusive for a year, don't worry, you aren't missing out on much. The XP you get from it is pitiful. In fact, the same goes with all the co-op modes, and the classic Spec Ops don't even bother with it. Weirdly, the map for Spec Ops is huge, and the missions don't really use much of it, so I am expecting a Battle Royale mode to come soon. Also, there are vehicles exclusive to Spec Ops that seem wasted on it, and seems, well suited for a Battle Royale, so yeah, I would put money on it coming. As I said at the start, the multiplayer feels like it has a slower pace than previous entries, which I've wanted for a long time from COD. Most of them have been people running around aimlessly around a map shooting everything in sight, but there is a lot less of that in this, but it's been replaced by campers. It's frustrating as fuck, just like it was getting shot in the back constantly because of the shit spawns, which still happens by the way. You have anti-camper tools in your arsenal like flashbangs and smoke grenades, but you have too few of them. You'll throw your one and only flashbang into a room that will hit the camper, you kill them, but then there's another cunt keeping watch on the window from across the map. There's so many vantage points and open ground that it seems like suicide to move, so you can't really blame people for doing it. I do think some sort of spotting system like Battlefield has would help. Objective game modes are ruined by it as well. In Domination, a lot of the capture points are in open space with no cover, so anyone who plays for the objective, like they should, is going to get shot from 5,000 different directions. This is probably why no one plays for the objectives and just treat it as a deathmatch, which is also frustrating. The amount of times I've seen people run straight past an objective is ridiculous. Maybe it's just people being idiots, because COD is designed for idiots, but at the same time, again, I can't blame people for doing it. Ground War highlights all of these problems because the maps are so large. There are about 20 million windows and rooftops to shoot from, as well as very overpowered tanks that can obliterate you in one hit from miles away. But I do see the potential of this mode, as I can with all the smaller multiplayer modes. Just a few tweaks here and there to the spawns and maybe close off some of the windows and vantage points on the maps, so battle lines are actually formed. As I said, I do appreciate the more slower, thoughtful gameplay because COD has been about running and gunning for far too long now, and anyone who is a casual player just can't compete with it, so the change really gives a learning curve for all types of players. Oh, and some of the weapons need balancing. The M4 is god tier right now. You're just putting yourself at a disadvantage by not using it. It's a if you can't beat them, join them case. And stock guns have a real disadvantage over ones with attachments, so if you play COD a few months from now, it's going to be quite frustrating. There is a mode that is fantastic, which is Gunfight, a 2v2 mode where your loadout changes every 2 rounds in small paintball arena-like maps. The camping problem hasn't been that much of a problem here, because the maps have so much cover, enabling you to rush or sneak around, and as long as you keep an eye out, you can get the drop on others and even have some fun firefights. I like realism mode as well. There's no HUD, so it's even slower, but again, camping is absolutely the way forward here, especially with no radar. You're basically invisible. The presentation is also great. The graphics look incredible at points. The clean house mission I was on about earlier looks and sounds so real I had PTSD after playing it. The only bug I had was the audio cutting out in Spec Ops, and then it carried over into the other modes until I restarted the game. There's a problem at the moment with your character screaming "Contact!" in multiplayer when you see an enemy, but it gives away your position, and the footstep noises are pretty loud and not very accurate for both the enemy and friendly positions. Overall, this game is packed with content, looks and sounds great, and works, which unfortunately nowadays is a rare thing. I would hold off for a bit and wait for some balance patches because the potential is there, and all the maps and updates will be free, and there are no microtransactions for now. There is a promise of a battle pass coming soon for cosmetic items only, so yeah, wait to see if they ruin it first.